What is up, hackers? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto, where we hack our metaverse education. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be diving deep into the three different categories that the metaverse is going to cover: the consumer, the enterprise, and the industrial metaverse. This is probably something you guys have not heard of before because it is a new advanced topic that a lot of people are talking about on the research side of the metaverse. So I wanted to bring it to you guys here first. Now, at the end of the video, if you're still hanging around, I will be dropping some key knowledge around the cost to building in these metaverses. We just finished our survey at Sandstorm, the marketplace that connects brands with metaverse builders. Price transparency to create a market is key. So I'm going to be dropping that at the end of the video. So stick around. If that sounds good to you, be subscribed. It's free. Turn notification bell on. That's also free. And stick around to the end. Now, first and foremost, I want to talk a little bit about the consumer metaverse. The consumer metaverse is what you are most familiar with, I'm sure. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you've been following Sandstorm for a while, you understand that this means games and different immersive experience for individuals. This is a lot of where Web3 has started, the technology that is powering the ownership within these virtual worlds. So the consumer metaverse is very important to be following. A lot of the builders on Sandstorm right now are very focused on the consumer side of the metaverse. Consumer space is super fragmented and broken apart into a bunch of different pieces. That's where we've started at Sandstorm because I believe the builders are able to actually deploy assets across a lot of these worlds. It makes a lot more sense around the interoperability and the ease of moving between them. So the consumer metaverse being things like a game that is immersive for a lot of people to come and socialize in, things like Sandbox and Decentraland as the sort of gold and silver of the consumer metaverses that are powered by Web3 technology, is where we're going to start. We're going to talk about that market and the size of that. I have a really great deep dive research report in front of me at the beginning of 2023, and it's very exciting to think what 7 years is going to look like down the road. So these are just projections, not financial advice or anything like that, but ultimately these are three different buckets, three different market caps, and the finale one of the industrial metaverse is bigger than both the enterprise and the consumer metaverse combined. In this video, I'm going to be going over a research report done by ABI Research. We've been doing a lot of research on the Sandstorm side, hence the end of the video when I'm going to drop some knowledge and a link that you guys can check out about the research that we've done on the cost to build. It is the second research report that we did as a company for the top builders across 10 different virtual worlds, and it is the only research report that is focused on the building side of the market. So in the ABI research report here, we're going to start with the consumer market, or the consumer metaverse, and how big that's projected. That is projected to be 50 billion by 2030. Now, this is things that are virtual spaces. This is where people can go in and play games together. And it's very important to know that this is where a lot of retail is going to come in, where you have virtual commerce spaces like Space Metaverse, where you have gaming and social experiences like Decentraland and Sandbox and TCG World. And there's so many interesting things about the Web3 elements that are going to be involved here that is really where we've started at Sandstorm, and where a lot of people are thinking about this because we understand it easier right out of the gate, like a game lobby back in the early 2000s and things like that. We understand it, and it's been around for a while with these virtual currencies within the worlds that are powering the economy within there. So I think there's a lot to work on here with interoperability and interconnectivity between these individual consumer worlds. Next up is the enterprise metaverse. I've been privy to a lot of these conversations around what is going on with the enterprise metaverse, meaning a very large Fortune 500 company, let's call it, builds out their own metaverse, their own virtual world where people can come in, employees, customers, all different departments can all come in and be within the presence of each other in a virtual experience. Things like training, electronics, automotive, aerospace, utilities, banking, pilot simulators, and things like that are all considered these enterprise metaverses, where you're going to be participating in work, you're going to be participating in different things. And I'm really excited to see things that Immersed is doing here. And there's so many cool things that are going on. This is projected to be 30 billion by 2030. So to recap, consumer, 50 billion. The enterprise is 30 billion. The industrial metaverse is what we would consider and what ABI would consider a digital twin to the physical world. And this is where really interesting things come into the picture here. Similar to enterprise, but ultimately the industrial side is just such an untalked about topic. Maybe it's because it's less polished or shiny than the consumer side, understandably, because here on YouTube, of course, this is what we talk about mainly is consumer things like products and all that. But with the industrial happening more so by these huge companies operating in the background as to how they can, do this, I think there's a lot of cool things around farming, agriculture, university, and a lot of things that are happening on a government level that we could focus on with the industrial metaverse. And this is a very cool topic because we're looking at $100 billion projection in 2030. So 7 years, you're looking at $100 billion projection. Now, there is going to be a lot of things that happen between now and 2030 in this space. And I think that the digital twins concept of the physical world and digital world, basically copying what's in the physical world into the digital world, as a whole is going to require some interoperability here between the consumer, the enterprise, and the industrial worlds. There's going to have to be a fluid transition. There needs to be a lot more focus around interoperability, and NVIDIA is actually doing a lot of work here. And this isn't something that I talk about on the channel very frequently because I'm doing a lot of content around the ownership because there's so much there that needs to be done. And, we're working on it at Sandstorm, but this is basically what I've been digging into for the last week or two around NVIDIA. They've developed this thing called Universal Scene Description, USD. And what people have talked about around this is that it's kind of like the creation of HTML, but except for the metaverse. And this is on the industrial side. This isn't really something that you would be focused on if you're watching this, but it's important that this is happening in the background and that there is movement happening in the background and that this is going to be a massive opportunity for a lot of people out there. So I think something that ABI points out in their research report here is that the ultimate make or break, it's fortunate that Sandstorm is in this position, but the ultimate make or break is that creators and influencers and all sorts of content creators are generating 3D assets. And this is something that we have focused on since day one around creating thousands of opportunities for thousands of builders to connect with brands and bring them into the metaverse, whether it's 10 avatars or $1 million stadium, it doesn't matter. The builders need to be there. They need to be verified. They need to be able to get work and connected to the two. So that's really where we've been positioned for over a year now at Sandstorm, and having 3,000 plus builders on the marketplace actively getting jobs through the marketplace. It is very important to emphasize the importance of creators in this space, whether it's the enterprise space, whether it's the consumer space or the industrial space. All of these markets need creators to build assets. No matter who you are or whatever you're trying to accomplish in the virtual world, you need to have someone that can build it and bring you in there. So that is really where we've been focusing, laser focused on the construction market of the open metaverse. And I think that we are already on track. Coming into 2023, it is a very exciting time to be part of this revolution, and really supporting the construction of it all across all these open worlds is really fun. So that is the conclusion of the ABI research report, but I wanted to talk briefly about the report that Sandstorm just released, and that is around the cost to build in the metaverse. Now, we did a survey back in April that set the floors, the rate floors for builders, and it changed thousands of builders' rates. They basically went through and adjusted the minimum that they were going to be charging brands to bring them into different virtual worlds. This one is on averages, and the goal here was to set the floor in April, and now we ratchet that up to medians. So it allows people to increase their prices based on the market and how things have moved. This is twice as big, twice as much data as the April report. And this is from the top builders across the Sandstorm marketplace. So over 3,000 builders on the marketplace. This represents that group of people. Now, the average cost to build one wearable asset across the top 10 virtual worlds, 44.1% said that it costs $25 to $50 for one asset, a wearable asset. Next one is, what is the average cost to create one avatar? 38.2% said it costs $50 to $100 to create one avatar. Wearable, 25 to 50, and then one avatar is about 50 to 100. So what you're looking at is an avatar with a wearable anywhere in the range of $75 to $150. Just really depends on what's going on with the detail that's going into it. Now, what is the average daily rate that builders can make on either Sandstorm or independently or however they want to do it? And 59.8% said that they can make $100 to $250 per day building in the metaverse. And this is across Sandbox, Decentraland, TCG World, Space, Immersed, Monaverse, Spatial, all the different on-chain virtual worlds where people own their assets. It's really exciting to see that number because almost 60% making $100 to $250 is life-changing for people. If you're watching this and you want to learn, the links will be in the description below where you can learn how to create assets in the virtual worlds, because that's a lot of money to a lot of people. That is it for my quick little dive in there. The link to the full report is in the description, so you guys can check out how much you can make if you learn to be a builder in these virtual worlds powered by Web3. And the link will be below, so definitely check that out. I encourage everyone here to learn how to construct and build and be creative in the metaverse, because with these different billion-dollar opportunities coming into the space, whether it's the consumer market, the enterprise market, or the industrial market, there is an immense demand coming for you as a builder. So that is it for this episode. Slap a like if you like this. Turn notifications on with being subscribed. It's free. And I will see you guys on the next episode here on Hack Crypto.